5.
We're just waiting on people to join.
Yeah, if you're joining, hit us up in the chat so we know you're there.
You think those guys really like the food they eat after this?
I
think it's good.
Yeah, it's probably stuff that's sitting around cold.
Cold shit. They just do it for the.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have like a Thanksgiving meal, like afterwards, and provided for them.
Oh, I'm sure they probably got pretty good. I mean, they got pretty good spreads to begin with. It probably gets better for this time of year.
Because, dude, I mean, you figure these professional athletes, dude, they probably don't. You figure they probably don't really eat much several hours before the game, right?
Yeah,
Is anybody in here?
We got 3.
Oh, all right.
Counting me, so 2 others.
We're just talking about the food, guys. Whether or not these guys think that food's any good, I'd be interested to know if it was. I highly doubt it. Probably been sitting around for 4 hours, cold as shit. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Drop back to 1.
What's that?
Drop back down to 1 all of a sudden.
Kind of looking over some interesting little tidbits today. I agree with Braden. I don't think Mark was able to see that Josh Jacobs was back. I mean, there's no real justifiable explanation to leaving Emmanuel Wilson in that lineup this week.
No.
Who would you have liked to see him go with there?
Obviously, he could just put anybody in there. But I almost would have went maybe, let's see, Keenan Allen wouldn't be a horrible play.
Yeah, weren't you throwing some numbers at me with Higgins earlier from Houston?
Yeah, Higgins. So if you look at Higgins' actually targets over the past 3 weeks, I think it's been 8 and 7 and 7. So it would have been a good play. Obviously, he's got a tough matchup against the Colts
secondary, yeah.
But still, probably a better shot than who you end up playing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you just had a feeling that the carries was going to be limited. And then they obviously were. He only got 1 point out of him. It seemed like he got that one kind of early, too, to be honest with you. But, I mean, I guess you win some, you lose some. Hey, I'm just noticing we were talking off air earlier about A.D. Mitchell, talking about targets. We were also having a conversation about guys that are available on the waiver wire that are kind of target hogs. And I was kind of sitting here saying that, I've been monitoring 2 New York Jets that are getting 8 and 7 targets a week, trying to differentiate between the two on which one I might want, between A.D. Mitchell and Mechie, John Mechie, I think is his name. Braden actually has just added A.D. Mitchell, so he must be on the same wavelength that we're thinking.
Or he's got this place bugged.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, we're thinking the same thing, Braden. Like, it's got to, like, a guy who's getting that kind of volume, it's got to kind of turn into numbers at some point. So, not a bad pickup there. Obviously not playing him this week, but we'll see if Mark can hold on to that lead. Battle getting a big old game from J-Mo Williams, though, so far.
Yeah, he did benefit from that injury where Amon-Ra went down, especially after last week.
Big donut.
He had a big donut last week.
So
and some guys would have probably just signed him because of that.
Well, it makes you wonder what the thought process was. So I'm curious if Battle will ever kind of divulge any of this information. But noticing that J-Mo ended up in the flex position tells me he probably pulled him out at one point and really contemplated whether or not he wanted to play him at all this week. So I'm curious how he landed on getting back in there.
He's glad he did.
Yeah, no shit. So, that one beach didn't have anybody to go. That's a game of guys that aren't going anywhere and pretty much out. In my opinion, one of the games of the week, I feel like we have 2 possible elimination games, myself being one of those. The Bedtime versus JJ's, I have that as an elimination game as well, unofficially. Josh Jacobs being back, did only get 12 points, so not like he really set the world on fire. And I know that was that's a big piece of Bedtime's roster.
Yeah, his running backs, with Saquon not having a Saquon year, luckily Javonte Williams has been stepping up for him.
Yeah.
But that's a big part of his team is those 3 running backs. And Jacobs, which has probably been the best overall for him all year, has not quite a Jacobs kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are the reasons I've been down on Jacobs. We've talked about it almost to exhaustion, but I'm going to continue to monitor him the rest of the way because I want to see if he can get back to some of those early season numbers. Because right now it's looking like he's doing exactly what I said he would do, fall off at the end of the year.
But I mean, you watched the game today. He was a big part of it. Obviously, they figured that they probably have to score a lot of points with playing against the Lions.
And they did look like they were throwing a lot more today.
But the first half, they featured him a lot. So
Yeah.
you can see, especially getting into those outdoor cold games and Lambeau, maybe he could actually even produce more of them.
Yeah, I'm going to shift over games here. Think about Twin Bowers, another elimination game. So I guess we do have three. Because I'd say it's pretty much cut and dry with Twin Bowers. If he doesn't win this week,
he didn't get any help today.
And a -1 from a defense. And not that defenses are necessarily setting the world on fire week in and week out. If you're going to withstand a -1 from anybody, I feel like that would be the position. But pretty frustrating way to start a must-win game.
Yeah, that's even worse than a guy coming out getting hurt, putting up a 0. You go backwards a little bit there, bud. So you got to score just to get even now.
I know. So, and then I guess we'll shift over to my game, dude. I got the big pleasant surprise there, and really it was the big play.
Yeah,
I guess is really how he got a lot of the bulk of that score. He was thrown to a lot.
Seemed like he got a lot of targets.
I seen 2 or 3 drops. One of them was a foul that should have been called. But I did see some that were catchable balls that weren't, so his number could have actually been.
But it did seem like throughout the whole game, he had a lot of targets, which is promising.
Yeah, it's kind of
normally that ball with that team spreads around and to see one guy get that many targets.
I mean, they say that if there is a number 1 on that team, it is Christian Watson. I was kind of hoping that he would give me some of those true number 1 numbers. This is a game I got to win. It's an elimination game for me.
Yeah, because we were talking about, we've been doing our show today. We've been talking about how if you don't get this win today, you don't have those tiebreakers to carry you through to that wild card.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not going to think about the individuals here, but 21 and a flex. That's what I got.
Yeah, gotta like that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's where he ended up. I'm not saying he's a flex player because I had him. That's just where he ended up. But I mean,
normally 12 to 15 in the flex, you're happy.
Exactly.
20,
so plus 20, I'll take that all day. So I mean, it still has me favored to lose. So I mean, I'm going to take these. I'm going to need these kind of unexpected performances. I'm trying to get another one later tonight with Yosevas. Last week
with T. Higgins down.
I put him in with Chase being out last week.
Burrow's coming back.
Yep. So I'm hoping to catch a little fire this week that I didn't quite get last week, but they didn't have Burrow, so hopefully that does kind of come to fruition. Speaking of Burrow, I did notice that JJ's did make that move.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple videos ago. Did he pick him up to actually use him, or did he pick him up to have an option for a keeper?
Yeah, I don't like where his head was, though, this morning, talking about JJ, when feeling like his season's a wrap. I feel like if he wins this game, he can kind of work his way right back into the mix.
Yeah, I think he still has a good chance, but he kind of wrote himself off early.
I'm going to go ahead and shift over to another game this week, and that's going to be your game, dude. So you're up 14-0. How you feeling about what you just seen from Jahmyr Gibbs?
That's a low game for him. I think he's normally scheduled up in the averaging close to that 20, so to take a little bit of a hit for him. But on Dan's side,
0 sitting there on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see a guy get hurt. That could very well be the deciding factor of this game.
I can see that. I don't want to hear.
I'm not saying that's definitely a wrap because Dan still has firepower. He still has a lot of firepower.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't want to hear shit about this unlucky.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dude who went from 0-6 to the Super Bowl. Talking about unlucky.
How many guys you got hurt on your team this year?
Dude, you found a miracle in Rico Dowdle that nobody.
And Scatabo.
And the Travion Henderson, who I gave you a lot of credit for, dude. But like when I went back and looked in the draft, dude, you didn't reach. Or you reached for him. Yeah. He drafted like the 6th round, so I probably gave you a little bit of too much kudos for him.
Yeah,
because he did kind of reach a little bit early. But you built a pretty solid team, dude. So to sit here and act like Amon-Ra St. Brown is the be all end all is just laughable.
But at the end of the day, that's your receiver too.
It is. So.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even think that really just says, it's going to be a win for me. I think there's still a lot of work to do in this game.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny because ESPN has this as like a 90-some-odd% for Dan to still win. I wonder why that is.
I like to
shed a little light on this.
You do know I like to screw with Dan a little bit, and I know how much he watches those projections and looks at those numbers and sees, I'm 51% to win. So I thought I'd just give him something to watch this week.
So, Dan, make sure you're checking in right before the 1 o'clock window on Sunday, the 4 o'clock window on Sunday.
And even go into Monday night because I think I got a Monday night guy.
That's funny. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. Obviously, there's a lot to still be had for this week. We got a lot of football left today.
Yeah, I think we're getting ready to go into that Dallas KC game, which is a big game for a lot of guys in our league. There's a lot of big names playing, man.
Yeah, so just a real quick teaser. I'm looking for a big game from CD. Dude's got 7 drops over his last 3 games.
After what kind of grief he's been getting the past few games.
Pickens has been just setting the world on fire, dude. I think CD's going to come out with a point.
I think they're going to make an emphasis.
Yes, so I think that benefits Twin Bauer. I don't think he's out of this game yet. Stick around. We'll let you guys know how things are going.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
See you guys.